Right now, the Tories are passing new laws which will allow public sector workers like nurses, firefighters and teachers to be fired if they go on strike. Now they're trying to act like they're protecting the public, like nurses going on strike is dangerous for the NHS, and almost implying that doctors and nurses going on strike is the reason why the NHS is in trouble. But that doesn't explain this. How come there were 12-hour waits for ambulances outside hospitals last year when there weren't even any strikes? How come 8 in 10 nursing shifts are understaffed? People in the UK are facing the sharpest fall in living standards ever recorded, and public sector workers have been seeing their pay go down consistently for the last 13 years. And it's not like we don't have the money. The UK is just the 4th most financially unequal country in Europe. And fixing that problem requires either paying the people at the bottom more or giving them the power to demand more by going on strike. But we know that the Tories have no intention of paying the poorest people more. In fact, 63% of them are fundamentally against that. And so the other option, giving people the power to go on strike to demand better pay, they're doing the exact opposite. This anti-strike law is nothing but a blatant attack on the poorest people in the country during a poverty crisis, and that's why people are protesting today. For example,
I teach 11 to 18s at a large secondary school in Oxford. I spent my whole lesson today talking to them about trade unions, which is actually on the curriculum, and they were horrified that they would lose the right to strike. Nobody explains to children, so this is another civil liberty that's going to disappear before they even know they've got it.
what is the state of UK teaching? How have you found it in recent years in terms of the staffing numbers, the ability to cover everything, the pressures?
Well, this is the absolute irony of this bill. So it's talking about minimum service levels, yet in education across the whole of the UK we've got hundreds of thousands of vacancies where there's not enough teachers who are filling it. We don't have enough teachers coming through in the next cohort of trainee teachers.
And what do you think is one of the reasons for the lack of staff?
Oh, the lack of staff is, one, it's about workload. There are so many teachers that are going off on stress and they are being overworked because more and more gets put into the education sector for us to solve. So there's that issue, but we've also got people who are given so much that they've burned out. They wanted to do a whole career of teaching, but after the workload, after the stress and after the lack of pay increase, why would we? There are so many teachers who are thinking about leaving the profession and going to work for a supermarket. You can get paid more. We've got the transferable skills, but we've also got the ability to leave it all at work and go home. Well, we need a fully funded pay increase. We are about 20% below where we should be if we hadn't had incremental pay suppression over the last 15, 13 years.
What this is a protest for everybody who's working. It means that all these people are here for you. That's what this means.
Yeah. And what threat does this bill pose?
What this bill is saying is you need to shut up and put up and we can work you to death essentially, and you're going to be poor and you need to accept it. You know, they pretend that this bill is about minimum service levels. I've got doctors and nurses in my patch in Brent that go to the hospitals and there's not enough doctors and nurses to service the ward. And what they're saying is they want minimum service levels. That's why they're on strike. They're on strike because they're like, hang on a minute, we're working ourselves to the bone, we're exhausted. When they're tired, they will make bad decisions. We need to get more doctors and nurses on the wards. We can't get that if we don't pay them. We can't get that if they've got to wait 10 years and they still don't get a pay rise. They've done as much. They are not angels. They are people that live in homes, they've got families that they need to feed. We need to stop referring to them as angels. Teachers are not angels. They are working, they are educating our children. We need to stop using them like they're doing this, you know, because they love doing it and they'll do it for free. They deserve to have a life. They deserve to live. They deserve to go on holiday. They deserve to be able to buy food.
So we already have a situation where there aren't minimum service levels.
Absolutely. I mean, I waited 11 hours for a hospital bed when I was in hospital. I needed to get my blood taken 24 hours. There was nobody to take my blood. There was one person and they were doing something else. This is something that's been ongoing for a very long time. And doctors and nurses have been covering for the system. And they're at breaking point. They've had enough. And what we should be doing in there, in Parliament, is protecting them and helping them, not demoralising them even more. And that's what makes me ashamed of what this bill.
It's always been an amazing job. I've always loved it, but we've always been under attack. My whole career, I've been a firefighter for over 20 years, and it's been cut after cut after cut, and it's always been fighting for a pay rise. In Nottinghamshire, where I'm from, we've lost a third of firefighters in this last decade.
And why would you say that is?
Just from government cuts. It's purely from cuts. And we definitely need them. Fire deaths have started to go up again. And we're super busy this year.
And so you're going on strike in order to improve those conditions?
Well, luckily, we don't have to go on strike. We've won our
Good.
We only because we had a mandate to strike, and we forced our employers. We didn't end up actually going on strike, but they did change their offer from 2%, then to 5%, and then to 7% that we accepted this year.
So going on strike actually achieved something?
It did, yeah, absolutely. The mandate to go on strike achieved something.
And
yeah.
so now the government's wanting to take away the thing that gave you the better conditions that will actually help you to have the people you need to save people from fires?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a 2% offer they offered us this year. If we hadn't had that mandate to go on strike, that's what we would have got, 2%, and that's disgusting compared to inflation at the minute. I think it's a disgusting thing, because what'll happen is the pay that's offered will just be lower and lower over time, because businesses don't want to pay more money.
Yeah.
Public sector, the government doesn't want to pay any money for workers, and that's if we've got no right to strike, what else have we got?
The Tories know that their days in government are numbered, so it's going to be our job to make sure that the new government, probably Labour, gets rid of all these laws immediately. Have a great week.
Let's stand together. Let's defeat this wicked and abusive legislation.